If there's one thing we know about the Curator, it's that he loves talking about all of the famous people he's met.
I met him once, you know? I meet everybody once.
If we know two things about him, it's that he's a name dropper and that he loves to read. So let's talk about some of the historical and literary references he drops during his cutscenes.
Life's but a walking shadow, eh?
This comes from William Shakespeare's Macbeth as part of the famous speech in Act 5, Scene 5, which he gives after having learned of Lady Macbeth's death. All of his plans are collapsing and he sees no future, so he exclaims that life is meaningless and anyone trying to find order or sense in it is nothing but a fool. Perhaps this was meant as a hint about all of the game's dramatic content being fake.
To thine own self be true.
This is another Shakespeare quote from Hamlet, Act 1, Scene 3, in which Polonius is sending off his son to study, and pauses to give him a list of tips for how to be a person of value. To thine own self be true is the final, ultimate rule. Also a good reminder for how to play an interactive movie.
We sometimes congratulate ourselves on waking from a troubled dream. It may be so the moment after death.
This is a quote from Nathaniel Hawthorne, the New England writer who penned The Scarlet Letter. Not only is it an appropriate quote for hinting about the game's plot, but Hawthorne is the perfect writer to reference because his ancestor, John Hawthorne, was the only judge at the Salem witch trials who later regretted taking part and admitted that it was likely all a horrible injustice, making him the historical inspiration for the Asian judge in Little Hope, who goes through the same arc.
My dream was lengthened after life. Oh, then began the tempest to my soul. I passed, methought, the melancholy flood with that sour ferryman, which poets write of, unto the kingdom of perpetual night.
This is from Richard III, and it's spoken by George, Richard's brother. He's recounting a dream in which he died, but found the dream continued, and only became more horrific. This ties in well with the plot of the game, as Anthony starts the game having a dream in which he dies by running into the flaming house, only to have the dream continue with him as Andrew and become even more terrifying.
Do as the heavens have done. Forget your evil. With them, forgive yourself.
Not a lot of interpretation required here. The passage from A Winter's Tale is literally a guy telling another person to forgive himself for a death he caused. This ties in exactly with Andrew's journey through the game, needing to forgive either himself or Mary for the fire at the start of the game. Oh, and the Curator refers to the Bard, because Shakespeare's nickname is the Bard of Avon, because he was from Stratford upon Avon.
Never judge anyone shortly. Every saint has a past, and every sinner has a future.
The Curator explains what he means by this one, flat out telling the player to forgive Mary. The author who he's referring to is Oscar Wilde, who did in fact die in Paris in the year 1900.
It is better to conquer yourself than to win 1,000 battles. Then the victory is yours. It cannot be taken from you. Not by angels or by demons. Heaven or hell.
This is a mistranslation of a quote attributed to Siddhartha Gautama, the founder of Buddhism. Obviously, an Indian living 2,500 years ago wasn't going to be talking about angels and demons. But the translator, Thomas Byram, needed to make it sound palatable to a Christian audience. So he swapped out his religion's mystical references for Hinduism's.
Something wicked this way comes.
This is a quote from Macbeth, Scene 4, Act 1. In this scene, Macbeth has returned to get more guidance from the witches who predicted his rise to power. So he's the wicked thing they're talking about the arrival of. This one doesn't really tie into the plot other than in the most literal sense, with the monsters that creep out of the fog to get the characters at the burned house. That's it for the Curator's literary references, at least the ones I was able to find. It's always possible that there's a few more quotes hidden away behind unusual combinations of choices. And if you find any such quotes, be sure to let me know. I've been the Hidden Object Guru. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please remember to like and subscribe. If there's any subject you'd like to see covered in a video, please mention it in the comment section below the video. See you back here for the next thing, but until then, au revoir.